This is Liz Lawless, your host for Wild West Diversity, where we tell the rarely and untold stories of multicultural contributions to the settling of the American Wild West. Each Thursday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, we'll be sharing a historical legend and a living legend. Someone from history and someone living that Western lifestyle today, keeping it alive for the future generation. We hope you'll join us on Thursday. If not, we'll see you on the trail. Hello. This is your host, Liz Lawless for Wild West Diversity, and a little casual today. We're coming into a holiday weekend here, 4th of July weekend, and so we got kids in town for that. I know y'all probably have some of that going on yourself with family celebrations. So, but I still wanted to jump on here because we're in the summer now. It's almost July, end of June here. And as we've talked about earlier, there are hundreds of rodeos that are going on, that have been going on really since Memorial Day. And for sure, 4th of July is a big weekend for rodeo. So there's probably a rodeo within an hour or 2 hours of anywhere you live, especially in Texas and Oklahoma and some of these southwestern, midwestern states, because that's where all the rodeo action is in the summer. And so I want you to be checking those things out if you're interested in that. I had a very interesting and fun call today with a lady in Indiana. And I want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to Susan Davis Williams. Susan has decided she's about to retire in a few months. And she's decided that the next phase of her life, she's going to be a cowgirl. So she's going to learn to ride, she's going to learn to rope, but she's going to start living that cowgirl lifestyle. And so anyway, she was calling us to see about how she could start doing that and where she might go and who she might talk to. So Susan, if you're listening, I want to give you a big shout out. Anybody else that is interested in Western lifestyle, there's always a way to do that. And here at Wild West Diversity, I mean, we're obviously telling the rarely and untold stories of multicultural contributions to the settling of the American West, those stories that you're not going to hear in classrooms across, especially the United States and probably across the world. So we want you to know about these people who were ordinary people that lived extraordinary lives because of their choices and their actions and the things they did. And so they're really great role models. They're great role models for adults. They're great role models, especially for children, to look up to and to say, hey, if they could do it, I can do it too. So I want to give Susan a shout out about that. Anybody else that's looking at that, wanting to do. We talked about equestrian schools, how she could volunteer, maybe at a rodeo up somewhere near her, especially, like you say, there are equestrian outfits for nonprofits who work with special needs children, with veterans, all kinds of things, adults and children. And horses are just a great way for people that have some kind of challenge to have some joy in their life and to learn that they can do still a lot of things, even if they have some mobility challenges. Because when you're on a horse, the horse is mobile for you. And so there are great programs all across the country. If you have an interest in horses and being around horses, you don't want to just go out and buy a horse. We've talked about that here on this channel before and on one of our previous shows. Because a horse is a big commitment. It's a financial commitment, it's a responsibility, and it's a daily commitment. You know, you can't buy a horse and just leave them out for a week or two and not do anything with them. You've got to feed them, you got to take care of them, you got to brush them, you got to have a vet come out and see them, you got to have their hooves, taken care of by a farrier or horseshoe. And so there are a lot of things that go along with taking care of an animal, especially a horse. So you need to think about that for a while before you just jump into a situation like that. Go out and visit other equestrian places. Go out and visit other ranches or farms. I'm sure if you look it up, there's some place in your state and somewhere probably just like a rodeo within a couple hours of you where you can get involved somehow, maybe as a volunteer or just to come and take a tour and see what's going on with somebody's place. So those things are available. We're very excited. This is July coming up. In a couple of days, it'll be Texas Buffalo Soldier Month. July was designated by the state legislature of Texas to be Buffalo Soldier Month. And so they, of course, are having programs all across the state, especially at the state parks, because one of their minority programs, actually the only minority program, is the Buffalo Soldier program. So members of the state parks are out, volunteers are out participating at the forts across Texas, at the state parks across Texas, and they're providing this programming about the history of the Buffalo Soldiers and how they participated in the American West after the Civil War. So if you're out traveling, you might visit a state park, especially in Texas this summer. If you do, be looking for those Buffalo Soldier programs. They have some camps set up, and they have lots of artifacts. They have the clothing, they have all the things, and and in the past we've even addressed the kids in those things and let them participate and talk to them about what it was like to sleep in a tent where your head stuck out or your feet stuck out. One end or the other. And what do you do if it's raining and when it's 110 in the shade, like we're having right now, this heat wave across the United States? So this is not the first time people have been outdoors in this kind of heat. So uh, learn about that history. If you don't know anything about history, there are books about that. We obviously, shameless plug, we have our Cleo Hearn book. This is our Mr. Black Rodeo, our children's book. We also have a coloring book with that as well. These books are available on Amazon. We're in the process of getting donations and sponsors to donate these books to kids in disadvantaged areas or kids that are homeless or the working poor. Because what we know is that kids like that are in those circumstances and situations, they don't get new books. And so we want to provide these books for those children. So if you want to do something like that, you can always check in with us. You can comment below. We hope you'll go to our YouTube channel. It's at Wild West Diversity. You can just put in the @ Wild West Diversity, or you can just Google Wild West Diversity, and we're going to come up. You're going to see that our picture, and my cowboy hat. I don't have it on today. I got my Hope Junkie hat on today. But check us out. Go watch some of these interviews. We've got some fabulous interviews that are out there. Interviews that we've done with urban farmers. Very excited. I got another story from Coy today. We talked to Coy just actually on Tuesday about his new gardening book. But Coy has been on here at Wild West Diversity because he's one of our filmmakers, and he has an award-winning film about cowboys of color, a multicultural legacy. And so check that out. But Coy had a great article done on him for the USDA, which is the United States Agricultural Department. He is the president of the Dallas Association, like we mentioned, and he is teaching urban gardening across the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And so check out Coy Poitier, Master Gardener. His book will be coming out here in the next few weeks, and it's a gardening guide. So if you've ever wanted to do that, and it's for you to do that in a small place. You don't have to have hundreds of acres or 10 acres or even 1 acre of land or half acre. You can start really small with pots and small things, fish tanks, something like that. So check out Coy. We appreciate you watching and joining us here at Wild West Diversity. Like I say, we've had some great past interviews. Oba Baba Tunda, horse whisperer, actor, producer, musician, wonderful singer, sang in the early days with Liza Minnelli, and started out on stage and then went into the movies and into the television. Burton Gilliam, same actor. We've also had obviously our photographers, our filmmakers, our sports personalities like Chris Arnold with the Dallas Mavericks, who has always been supportive of our programs and of Cowboys of Color and participated with us. So we appreciate all that support. We want you to know that there's some exciting things coming up here in July, and we have the Dallas Rodeo. Dallas was our very first annual rodeo. 1985, we started doing an annual rodeo there, Cowboys of Color. It actually was called the Texas Black Invitational Rodeo because it benefited the African American Museum. And it wasn't until the 2000s that in 2001, I guess, that we decided to change the name to Cowboys of Color to be more inclusive and more, um, it was just more descriptive of what we actually do, which is honor the contributions of all cultures to the cowboy Western lifestyle. So, yeah, so the rodeo will be on July the 29th. It's in Dallas, Texas at the State Fair Coliseum. That's at Fair Park. That's our big park area. Our state fair goes on in October. So right behind that, you'll have an opportunity to come to the state fair if that's something you want to do. But the rodeo will be there on Saturday, the 29th. Tickets are already on sale. I think you can just go to Fair Park Tickets or fairpark.com, and there probably is a ticket button somewhere. But that show sells out every year. We've been doing that show, like I say, since 1985. So it's the longest running annual show that we've had every year, except for 1 or 2 years during COVID. We're very excited that we are just signed a deal this week to go back to Mesquite. So we'll be doing a legacy rodeo in 2024 at the Mesquite Championship Rodeo Arena. That's where we used to do our finals in November, but because we're now doing a state fair rodeo in October, on October the 13th, Friday, October the 13th, um, we didn't want to get that close in November. So what we're doing is a legacy rodeo in honor of our founder, Mr. Cleo Hearn, because he has been roping as a calf roper. He roped for 70 years and he produced rodeos for 50 years. So we're going to honor that legacy. We've got some other exciting news around that legacy program that we're going to be announcing. And we're going to be doing that at a VIP reception on Friday night, Friday the 28th of July. And so if you will go and make a comment on any of our this video here, our Wild West Diversity at our YouTube channel, if you'll go and make a comment, put your name in, we're going to give away a couple of free invitations to come to that VIP reception. And in addition to that, you'll get copies of the book about Mr. Hearn. You'll get copies maybe of some legacy apparel that we're going to be launching. And so I hope you'll come back because we're going to be announcing that on July the 20th. So in a couple of weeks, we will have the New Blue Collar, the guys from New Blue Collar, Felix Llanos and Alex Ewings, fashion designers who have a line of clothing for millennials, kind of a work to casual type apparel line. And they are our new partners. And so we're very excited about that, new partners with our Cowboys of Color Rodeo. So we hope you'll make a comment if you're watching. If you're listening on the podcast or something, you can always still go in and make a comment down below. Go to the website, go to the YouTube channel and make a comment and tell us that, and we will put your name in the drawing for this special giveaway that we're going to be doing in July. So that's the special thing that's coming up. So I want you to check that out. The other thing that we'll have going on in the next, like you say, couple of weeks, we'll have Alex on and Felix and them will be here. We'll also be talking with Geach Cook. Geach is another gentleman, friend that he owned Lukenbach, Texas. So if you're a Waylon and Willie and the Boys fan, you probably know the song, Let's Go to Lukenbach, Texas with Waylon and Willie. And so he's going to be on here talking about how that happened, how he bought a town. How do you buy a town? I mean, who knew you could buy a town? I never knew you could buy town. But apparently there was one for sale in the paper, and Geach happened to see it. And he said, well, I've always wanted to buy town. Let's check this out. So they did. They bought Looking Back, Texas. And so it's a great story. So we look forward to having Geach on to tell some of that historical stuff as well. His family were very instrumental in the early civil rights movement in Texas. His grandfather was the first civil rights attorney, one of the first civil rights attorney, and civil and one of the judges. He was a judge in Austin County, Travis County, and Austin, where the capital is, where the University of Texas is. And his family actually owned a farm, and they turned their family home into a restaurant. And so they had the first integrated restaurant in the United States. And so later on, his mother became the caterer for Lady Bird and LBJ, Governor and President LBJ. Um, and so lots of history there, lots of connections, lots of interesting stories. And so we hope you'll listen in for that. We'll be telling you ahead of time when they're going to be on, but that'll be in the next few weeks here and going through July and into August. And then we'll be here in the fall for sure, too. So lots of interesting things going on. The VIP reception, you'll hear more about that in the next couple of weeks. And like I say, that's going to be an invitation only thing. So you want to get your name in and come out and join us and meet some folks. We'll be doing that, thank you, on Friday night and making some announcements there. And so we hope you'll join us for that. And then go ahead and put on your calendar, July 29th, the rodeo in Dallas at Fair Park. The rodeo and State Fair at the State Fair is October 13th. Then, of course, we're back at Fort Worth for Martin Luther King Day, which will be that third Monday in January. And then we're going to be doing probably Oklahoma City again the first week in May, but we're going to go back and do our Legacy Rodeo at Mesquite, one of our favorite locations. And we'll probably have the Mesquite Rodeo folks on too. So we'll have them come on and talk about the regular professional rodeo that goes on every Saturday night through the summer. So they started having rodeos in June, and they've been doing those rodeos, and they'll do those through August every Saturday night at 7 o'clock. So if you want to find a rodeo and you live in North Texas, there's one every Saturday night over in Mesquite. There's one every Friday and Saturday night over in Fort Worth at the Cowtown down in the stockyards in the north side of town there. The Coliseum there. They also have a rodeo on Friday and Saturday, and that's where our own Charles Flores Hearn has competed in the bareback riding. We've talked to Charles about bareback riding, and that's one of the big rodeos that he goes to, tries to go to at least once or twice a month over there. So lots of opportunities in the summer to get out, to take your family and learn more about Western history, to learn more about the cowboy and cowgirl lifestyle. We hope that you will do that. We hope you'll take advantage of that opportunities that are around, no matter where you live across the United States, especially. If you're overseas and you're traveling, obviously Canada has rodeos, Australia, France, Spain. There are just all kinds of horse and equestrian type events across the world. And so check those out wherever you live. You can always watch on TV. There's a Wrangler Network cable channel that covers the rodeos. I'm sure you can Google YouTube. You can go to YouTube and Google rodeos, and you're probably going to get a lot of different footage. You're obviously going to get some footage from us about our rodeo, about Cowboys of Color rodeo. So hopefully that will come up. We thank you for supporting us. We've got, this is episode 67. It almost seems impossible because just a few years ago, I was afraid to get on camera. I'm still a little nervous about getting on camera, but anyway, we're figuring it out as we go along. And so I want to encourage you, if you want to do something, you have a dream, go after it like Susan. I mean, what a great thing that she has, in these later years of her life, decided that she wants to be a cowgirl, and that's been a dream of hers for a long time. And now she can finally do it. Her kids are grown, and they have their own lives and their own families, and and her kids said, "Well, Mom, what if you fall off that horse? What if you get on a horse and fall off?" And she said, "I guess I'll get back up." And try it again. So I love that attitude. We love that here. The attitude here is all about trying. I mean, we are a part of the Pirate Syndicate. And obviously, as pirates, we're always thinking outside the box. We're always willing to take a risk. We're willing to do what other people aren't willing to do, and that's how you're successful. So check that out. Go and check our website out at www.wildwestdiversity.com. When you go there, it'll actually take you to our newsletter so you can sign up. You can sign up for free, or you can sign up, I think it's $9 a month. And we're going to be posting more articles there. We're going to be posting some of these interviews, the printed copies, the printed version of these live interviews that we're doing with these wonderful people that are celebrating their Western lifestyle in different ways, whether that's on the rodeo circuit, or whether that's art, or whether that's retail. Hopefully we'll have some more craftsmen on, whether it's jewelry or furniture or home decor. There are just so many areas of Western history and Western lifestyle, and everybody likes something different. You may not be a rodeo fan, and that's okay, but you can still be a cowboy or a cowgirl. You might like the clothes. You might like the jewelry. You might like the hats and the boots and the buckles. Whatever it is, you might like just the ranch. You might like just being out in nature, being out on a ranch, or being out on a farm. Farming is coming back, and especially sustainable living and sustainable farming, especially with the minorities, because they're making that decision to learn how to grow their own food, uh, be connected to the land, be connected to their heritage, because a lot of us have ancestors who grew up on farms and or ranches, or had small plots of land, and gardening was a way of life. That was the way you fed yourself. And my grandparents always had a garden. My grandfather retired. He was doing fruit tree. He was planting fruit trees and strawberries, and he was grafting pears and plum trees together to see if he could see if he could get a new variety of tree. He got figs. He loved figs. We had huge fig trees in my grandparents' backyards, and so those are great memories for me. Those are great memories that I have of going and spending time with them. And one of the other things my grandfather and I always did was we watched wrestling on Saturday night. So yes, I'll confess I was a wrestling fan during the great Von Erich time of in wrestling in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Wasn't as much of a boxing fan, even though our friend Burton Gilliam was the lightweight boxing champion for years and years and years. I mean, he held the title for years. He boxed in his younger days when he was a fireman before he became an actor. And so exciting things used to happen. So whatever part of Western lifestyle you like, I hope you'll engage in that activity somehow, some way, that you'll support that. We thank you. We hope that you'll continue to support us here at Wild West Diversity as we try to bring you these stories, these rarely and untold stories of multicultural contributions to the settling of the American West. And we'll be talking about some of these other characters that you haven't heard about, people all across the country that lived in different places, that lived up in the Northwest, that lived down in the Southwest, or down in, Southern California and Arizona and New Mexico, all kinds of cowboys there. Some of the earliest rodeos were done over there as well. They had the outdoor rodeos over there, whereas we had some of the early indoor rodeos here in Texas. So lots of opportunity to find out more about your history and your heritage. And it's a collective heritage. It's a heritage that we all share because we all come from a multicultural and diverse background. For me, as you can tell, you're probably thinking, well, what's a white girl like you talking about cultural diversity? Well, my dad was part Indian and English. My dad was English and Indian and Native American. My mother was Swedish and Irish. And so we have that mixed blood, all of us do. And one of the very interesting shows and things I've seen lately on Facebook is the genealogy, the show where they're going back and finding the history of some of these famous people, some famous actors or comedians or different folks, and so it is very eye opening that when we learn about our history, we just feel an emotional connection to that. We feel a heart connection to that. It's kind of similar. It's kind of interesting. We just launched a new book for another client for our author side of our business called Baby Bear Come Back. And one of the guys on one of the blogs, a dad blogger, um, blogged about it, and he said, he almost cried because it brought such memories and emotions for when he was growing up as a child, and he resonated with that story because of that, and so it was very nice to give us a very nice review for that. So, and we hit number one, and number one in the hot new releases, and then 9, 16, and 24. So we're still working our way up the bestseller list with the Baby Bear book, but I think we'll get there this weekend. So if you're a reader, check that out. But for sure, check out our Black Cowboy, our animal. You can see there's our farm animal coloring book there. Kids are out of school, they need something for them to do. Go check us out on Amazon, and we've got multiple coloring books. We've got multiple children's books. You also can see all of our books at our author adventure, theauthoradventure.com website, which is our other live stream we do on Tuesday. So if you have any interest in that, we're certainly welcome you to come over there and check us out too. But we're here every Thursday from 5 to 5:30 Central Standard Time. We're talking about those rarely and untold stories. We'll have some more musicians on. We'll have some other women coming on and telling their stories because that was a big part. We'll have some Hispanics. We're still trying to get the Diaz family here, but this is a big rodeo time for Mexican rodeos as well. So it may be the fall before we're able to get the Diaz family here, but they're fifth generation charros. So long history, long heritage in the charros and equestrian skills and horse training, some fabulous stuff that they do with horses. And so we encourage you to go check them out if you haven't. It's Diaz, Diaz, and they have a ranch down in kind of central Texas outside of San Antonio, New Braunfels, and they put on rodeos down there on the weekends and stuff. So check that out if you're interested and you live in that area of town. My producer is not going to believe it, but I'm actually going to quit on time today. So this is Liz Lawless, your host for Wild West Diversity. If we don't see you here on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, we'll see you on the trail. So we hope you have a great, safe, and peaceful and relaxing weekend for 4th of July. Stay safe out there. Stay hydrated, especially if you're in an area where the heat index is so high. You can't take chances with that. So be sure to stay hydrated, to keep water, to go maybe indoors if it gets too hot. Be sure to take care of your pets and your children. Do not leave either one of them in a car, even for a few minutes. It can be deadly, and we don't want that to happen to you and your family. So thanks so much for watching. Again, this has been Liz Lawless, your host for Wild West Diversity, and we'll see you next Thursday. Thanks so much. Bye-bye. Hello, this is Liz Lawless, your host for Wild West Diversity, where we tell the rarely and untold stories of multicultural contributions to the settling of the American Wild West. Each Thursday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, we'll be sharing a historical legend and a living legend. Someone from history and someone living that Western lifestyle today, keeping it alive for the future generation. We hope you'll join us on Thursday. If not, we'll see you on the trail.